the Netflix special Quarterbacks, it features, Marcus Mariota, Kirk Cousins, and Patrick Mahomes. And it's just like a really in-depth look at what they just go through on a weekly basis. And it's been great. And one thing, it's kind of opened my eyes a little bit to Kirk Cousins. Like, I see the stat lines and I hear the things that people say about him, but I don't spend a ton of time watching Kirk Cousins, although I have watched him. I think he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo by far. I think he's better than Brock Purdy, if I'm being real. He's better than anything Trey Lance has showed us right now. So 2 questions here. Do you think the 49ers, had they gotten Kirk Cousins instead of signing Jimmy in 2017, they signed Kirk Cousins in 2018? If that happened, would the 49ers have won a Super Bowl by now?
I don't think so, for a couple reasons. Kirk Cousins is good. I do think there's something about him like playing his worst in big games, kind of like Kyle Shanahan, kind of performing his worst in the biggest moments. I think there's a little bit of that to him. Also, until proven wrong, I feel like Kyle Shanahan as a head coach puts such a little emphasis on pass protection that you could say any quarterback, as long as Kyle Shanahan's in total control of the roster, the team, the game plan, the offense, the X's and O's, that quarterback's probably going to get hurt pretty quick. I know Jimmy Garoppolo lasted 1 season 1 time, but I mean, it's not like Kirk Cousins is that much quicker or more mobile than Jimmy. So that's what I would think. Nah, I think the Niners' problems are Kyle, and it manifests itself in the quarterback position. But it's all those are Kyle's quarterbacks. He's behind Kyle's offensive line. 4/5 of it is there for run blocking. So would Kirk Cousins have delivered the Super Bowl? I don't think so. Go back and look at Kirk Cousins' numbers when Kyle was the coordinator in Washington. They were awful. McVay's the one who got him going. So
Clicking. Yeah.
I don't know about that. I don't think it's as simple as that. I don't. But maybe it was. I don't know.
So I would say yes, and the reason why is because they were so close with Jimmy. And I think Kirk Cousins is way better than Jimmy Garoppolo, especially after watching what I watched. He can make every throw, and he's not scared to make a mistake.
It's true.
He's also tough as shit, a lot tougher than I realized.
Can't move.
Yeah. What's that again?
He can't move.
He can't move. He did run for a 20-yarder though, for a touchdown on that show. Yeah, I was surprised.
He's
I was
actually elusive in the pocket. Like, I just don't feel like he's like has much pocket mobility or any elusiveness or burst.
Yeah,
the way Brock Purdy does, or Trey Lance, or Sam Darnold.
Yeah. No, I think just because they were so close with as bad as Jimmy is, and I think Jimmy's bad. I think Kirk Cousins could have put him over the edge
if they could keep him healthy. I mean, theoretically, with this team, like Kirk Cousins is a borderline top 10 quarterback. Like the math checks out. You should be able to win a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins the way the Rams won a Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford, who's like a little bit better than Cousins.
Yeah.
But there's this whole thing about the Niners and they're keeping quarterbacks healthy. And frankly, it's the same things going on with Miami, right? Mike McDaniel, who thinks he's the real brains of the operation, doing things similarly down in Miami and South Beach. And Tua's head got bounced off the turf how many times last year?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, here's my second question. I bet you, regardless of whether we think he can or we think he would have won a Super Bowl or not, I have a feeling Kyle Shanahan thinks he could have won a Super Bowl.
Oh, no doubt.
No doubt. With Kirk Cousins. Do you think that Kyle Shanahan has any resentment towards John Lynch because of that situation, right? Because people say he was probably the main guy involved with getting Jimmy. They were kind of new together. Kyle probably didn't want to say, no, let's wait for Kirk. They thought they had a great deal. They thought Jimmy might be the future. Do you think there's any resentment from Kyle Shanahan towards John Lynch because of that?
I would think so. I feel like Kyle picked this job, this opportunity with the Niners for a few reasons. He wanted the 6-year deal. He felt he had ultimate job security. He felt he had ultimate power. He could pick his quarterback. I feel like what the Shanahans are concerned with, most quarterback coaches are concerned with, is surviving, not getting fired. And I think most coaches feel like the way you get fired is because of your quarterback. Yeah. And so I think he felt, okay, I'm in a situation where I can pick my quarterback, and I want it to be Kirk Cousins. And I've got the 6-year deal. I've got carte blanche from the owner. I can wait a year and get Kirk Cousins. That's what I want to do. That's the only way I want to be a head coach if I'm with a quarterback like that or better. And they start off 0-8, and the trade deadline comes around, and John Lynch makes a move, and Kyle Shanahan begrudgingly agrees to it. But that wasn't the plan. And it's like you made a panic move halfway through your first year because you were 0-8. And even though you thought you had this 6-year deal, you know that Chip Kelly just got fired after 1 year, a year after Jim Tom Sula got fired after 1 year. So if you had gone 1-15, there's no guarantee you would have kept that job and gotten Kirk Cousins. So I don't know if he resents John Lynch or just resents starting off so awfully that he had to do that. But I think he had to abandon his original plan because he was so bad in his first year. So bad.
Yeah.
That's on him too. He didn't have to be that bad. He could have kept Colin Kaepernick. He didn't have to start Brian Hoyer. You know what I mean? That was on him. He gutted the team.
Yeah, ultimately everything falls on Kyle Shanahan. And I think not only because he's the head coach, but also because he has that power. I mean, I don't think there's anybody questioning whether Kyle Shanahan's final say on everything. I think he does. So ultimately it comes down to him. But do you think they've agreed on any quarterback situation, whether it be bringing over Jimmy, giving him the big contract, drafting Trey Lance, how they feel about Brock? Do you think they agree on all those things?
No, I think they've sort of been competing. That's the sort of vibe I get. Like Kyle got the job, hired John, set the agenda. We're waiting a year for Kirk Cousins. And John was probably like, waiting a year to get the quarterback. That's the plan. I'm going to go check out Patrick Mahomes. You don't want to get Patrick Mahomes? Fine, but I'm going to go. So I feel like maybe John felt like the whole wait a year for a quarterback plan didn't make sense. Then when they were at 0-8, John was like, all right, guy, can we make a move? I got Jimmy. And I think Kyle begrudgingly sort of acquiesced. And so all of a sudden, John had the upper hand because not only did he get the quarterback, but then the quarterback started winning. They took a team that was 1-10 and went and finished 5-0. John looked like a freaking genius, and Kyle looked like, what do you think? What were you waiting for? Like, so all of a sudden, John looks like a genius. Then that falls apart, and Kyle gets the upper hand with the Trey Lance trade. Kyle's on top. It's back to his plan, but then Trey Lance doesn't work out so good yet. And all of a sudden, here comes Jimmy Garoppolo back in the fold. That's John's guy. Here's Brock Purdy getting anointed. Clearly John's guy, the way he talked about him. And you got Kyle Shanahan sort of being like, I like Brock, but I don't want to marry Brock. So what about Sam Darnold? Like it's like a seesaw.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. I'm gonna get through a couple super chats real quick, and then I got some questions regarding what you were just talking about. Greg T gives me $1.99, says, "What's your favorite part of training camp?" Grant, I'm gonna let you take this one because I haven't been to one yet. I'll be here a little bit this year, but what's your favorite part?
I mean, from like a journalist perspective, it's like the one event of the year that most fans can't see. 99% of people who want to watch it can't watch it. So it's almost like old school radio. Like I'm there, I'm watching, and I go back and like I have to like give a whole recreation. Every single person who's there, every journalist has to say what happened, give stats, but it's like, how do you do that? It's not easy. And some journalists will only give stats. Some will paint a picture. Some will give their impressions. I mean, it's a blank canvas, and I've always felt that I'm good at it because my background isn't football. I've learned football. My background is I was an English major at UCLA. So I'm always thinking about being descriptive, showing, not telling, stuff like that. And I feel like football fans appreciate that stuff without subconsciously. They don't even think about it. They're not like, hey, that was a very active sentence from Grant. They're very, very descriptive, but they want to freaking be there. And I feel like I love the exercise of bringing people there. And it used to be just writing. Now I write and I do the video afterward and the stream, and it's all very interactive. And it's also like, it's the beginning of the year. So there's football fever. So it's like every day is just a ton of views. It's great. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. I was really clinging on to your coverage last year. Well, multiple years. But I can specifically remember your coverage last year. That stuff, and honestly, your after game from the field, that's the best shit ever. Like I refused to do a show at that time, not only because I can't compete with the draw, but I just want to watch. Like it's the most entertaining.
That's how I sort of made my niche on the beat. I got a credential when I was 24 in 2011, 23. And I had to figure out how to stand out on a beat with Matt Mayoko and Cam Inman and Eric Branch and Matt Barrows. And because they all, had audiences and bigger followings and connections and sources. So I started in training camp and I was just reading what they wrote every day. And I noticed that they would focus a lot on the interviews. But when it came to practice, God love all of you, respect all of you, I felt like their practice reports were a little short. Because at the end of the day, we were tired. And it was like, here's a little summary of what happened in practice. And I was like, wait a second, right there, freaking there. I can give 1,500 words on practice. I can empty out my entire notebook give as much information as possible because that's what fans want. Let's be honest. And all of a sudden, I had these like must-read practice reports in 2011. Everyone liked me. Then the season started. I started being critical. Everyone hated me. But initially, it was the practice reports. I always start off on a good foot with the 49er fans by giving them information they want. Then I start being a jerk. Sorry.
Yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to it. I'll be there on the 30th and the 31st, but I'll be in the stands. No credentials. Yeah, man. Right on. Well, Mui, I believe that's how you say his name, gave me $5, says, I think Trey Lance and Brock Purdy only have this year. Either one or the other can stay or neither before the Niners make yet another move for a franchise quarterback. Mui, thank you for this question. That's actually going to be the next topic. Real quick, though, I want to say, give a shout out to Mel for becoming a new member. Thank you very much for joining, man.